you're an expansive band, and you got that groove from Memphis and Chicago and Motown. So how did all of this come together?
It all started, basically with a broken heart from a lovely lady who inspired the first couple songs, and then I started working with James King, our saxophonist. And right away we were like, this is just begging to be played live. And I said, who's an amazing female vocalist? And he said, I just worked with this amazing woman, Noelle, Scaggs, and we all got together and we had one rehearsal and we played one song, and I left the room and I booked us a show because I knew after playing one song, and that's not even a made-up story. It literally happened.
All fact.
It actually happened that way. I came back in and I said, we got a gig next week, and everyone's like, we've played one song. I'm like, it's gonna work out. And we kind of haven't been not playing show. I mean, we've been playing since that day, moving forward, 10 years later, 3 albums later. It's just been the craziest ride.
Powerful band, man. Now, do you have a dual citizenship? Because I understand that you were born in France.
I do. My mother's French, and I was born in France and spent a lot of time, and all my relatives still live over there.
Wow. So, parlez-vous français?
Oui, je parle français.
Oh my God, okay, well that's it for me.
Hey, you sounded good. Your accent was good.
But prior to getting together with Noel, you and James went to the California Institute of
the Arts. Yeah, Cal Arts for short.
And what were you doing there?
I actually was studying film there, but prior to that, both James and I had also gone to the first public arts high school in Los Angeles called LACHSA, Los Angeles County High School for the Arts. So I did music there and then thought I wanted to make movies and be a director. And my senior year of college put together my first rock band, and we went in the studio and I recorded my vocals, and I just fell in love with that process and haven't stopped since.
What was the band's name?
Honestly, I can't even remember. It's so many bands ago, so many moons.
And you were hanging out with James King at the Institute?
We were friends. He was actually in some other crazy band where they dressed up in crazy costumes and played like jazz fusion punk. Yeah, so we've known each other for a long time, which was a great thing for us to circle back with the beginning of Fitz and The Tantrums, and now we've been this family for 10 years.
He's got a great sound with the sax,
yeah.
Man, I just love it. And Noelle, where were you before Fitz?
I was in a band called The Rebirth for many years. It's a little bit more on that kind of, I would say like the Hidden Beach era is when we were doing music, so it was really kind of Roy Ayers meets Earth, Wind and Fire kind of, stylings of music, all original works. I was touring with them for a really long time. That's actually how I met James originally, was through that band, because he had done horn arrangements on a couple songs on our first record that ended up being our only record together. But he'd played 2 songs, and then later on after I left that band, I ended up doing a tour with him, and that's initially how I got plugged into Fitz, because it was like 6 months later he discovered that I'd left The Rebirth. So he was like, you gotta, have this girl. I guess I was the first number that, name that popped up in his phone when he went to look for vocalists. It was like Noelle Scaggs. He's like, oh yeah, I think she'd be great for it. So that's where I was. I was doing a lot of hip hop for many years, working with everybody from Dilated Peoples to the Black Eyed Peas, doing courses for a lot of Stones Throw artists, and that was kind of how I paved my way through music before I met Fitz.
And then you just came together and...
Yeah.
We came together.
It was magic.
It really was.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of bands can say that we've been together for nearly 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so out of everybody in the band, who's the first one to throw a tantrum?
I think it's equal opportunity tantrum in this crew.
Well, that's the thing. When you're on the road, everybody's allowed like one little moment. But, that's the thing. When you're on the road, you're all living in a bus. You got to kind of keep your stuff together, but it's also cool because everybody kind of supports everybody. Luckily, the lunar cycle, not everyone's having an off day on the same day, so it's like you all kind of pick each other up as you go along, and just from city to city, because it's a crazy lifestyle. It's a very nomadic existence.
It really is. Is that one of the challenges you guys have had in this record business today? And it is a business, so What's the
I think-
21st century like in the record business for you guys?
I mean, I think for us, we've also, now that we've been doing it for so long, we've really figured out how to do it and in the most mentally, spiritually, physically healthy version of it. There's certainly not pizza being delivered every night on the tour bus after. You know, it's like we try and be healthy. You know, some of us are coffee fanatics, so we try and find the best coffee in every city. A couple of us are rock climbers. She's a huge foodie. She always has great food recommends. You know, we just have things that connect us to every place we are before we sadly have to get in the bus 12 hours later and drive to the next city.
So
Yeah, I think it's definitely keeping the life sanity going, you know, because I admire bands that can be gone for years at a time, you know, that can just kind of hop all over the globe. Like, we decided early on that wasn't something that we really wanted to do. We wanted to have the greatest impact we could, you know, kind of breaking up our touring cycle, because it is really hard being away from your family. You know, all of the guys have kids and, you know, are married and stuff like that. So we have to kind of balance out a healthy lifestyle within this industry, you know, because nowadays you have to be on the road, you know, until they start fixing the way that people get paid. You know, I think it's going to continue in this way. But something amazing about it is that you actually are forced to get out on the road and, you know, be with your fans. You know, it's easy to hide away in a studio and never see anybody, but there's nothing better than hopping on a stage in front of thousands of people that are singing along to your songs. That's the lift.
You have a unique way of connecting with the fans and with your show. You're so great live. You're putting out the hits that are just amazing, and I want to ask you how you write those great songs, so many great songs with so many great hooks, and people are singing along. But when you're on stage as a fan, it's a big hug. You're including the audience, because it's a vortex, and we're just getting sucked into what you're doing, and you look great.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, a lot of that credit can come actually from Noelle, because when we first started playing, you know, she also had come from having done a lot of hip hop too, where there's a lot of engagement with the audience that's happening. And just really quickly, early on, her and I just started realizing, because we've always been playing shows, like the more that we could sort of rile people up, it was like this infinity loop where the more energy we got them to output, the more we did. And it was just like, you know, when you're in a hot, sweaty nightclub like the Grog Shop, it's like, how much combustible energy can you form in this place? And that's what's great about also for us each record, you know, it's like we figure out where are the moments that we're going to find to connect with the audience and engage them. And that's been kind of our trademark, is like, we don't allow you to just stand there like a wallflower at our show. We will literally call you out.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement going on there.
Yes,
But
we get to eat whatever we want after the show.
It's infectious, it really is. And you have, you know, as I said, so many great songs, from, you know, Money Grabber, The Walker, all the songs that people know, Out of My League, and, you know, the most recent, Hand Clap. And how do you guys get together and write? Who's the primary
I mean,
writer?
every song has a different journey, you know. You know, Out of My League was an idea that Noelle had, where she was trying to sing like a British man, and she brought me this idea, and I was like, this song is amazing. And it turned out to be right. You know, even in that original raw demo that she did at home on her laptop, I could tell that there was something special. So we took that song and we worked on it. But if I played you the demo from that, it's not that radically different. You know, the bones of what made that song good are there in the first place. You know, every song has a different path. You know, Money Grabber, you know, we knew was a special song. Every night we'd play it out and people would be like, what's that money song? But we couldn't figure out the bridge and couldn't nail the bridge.
I think we had 5 bridges before
so
we got to the one we have.
Exactly. We kept writing bridge after bridge till we found one that didn't just sort of have a lateral move, but just kind of put the nail in the coffin of just like, this thing just elevated it one more step.
You were a sound engineer for a while, is that true?
I worked at engineering for this producer named Mickey Petralia, who did a lot of like the Flight of the Conchord stuff and some early Beck records. And that was really where I got to see other artists making their craft and realized, like, I don't want to just be behind the scenes. I have to be part of making something, you know.
When did you start playing the keyboards?
From early on as a child, and then like I said, I studied vocals at this performing arts high school. And then, you know, before this band, I had never really toured even that much. All these guys had all toured with many other people. I didn't even know if I could sing more than one time a week. So it was a steep learning curve for me. But, you know, they all helped me out and learn how to be a tour dog. So
You're a quick learner. How about your family, Noel and Fitz? Anybody musical in the family?
I mean, I have musical cousins, and the Ohio Players. Those are like my roots there. But not really in like my immediate, like my mother always like kind of like play piano, but she was into dance and into drawing. So she was really in that artistic realm. She's really good at numbers. So she was always, you know, thinking on those levels. But nobody that, you know, like my dad loved to play percussion. He used to build drums and do that kind of stuff, but there was no singers that I knew of, you know, that were directly in my family that did this for a living. So I think I'm the only one.
Your dad was a club DJ though, wasn't he?
Yeah. He used to spin for like the Whispers parties and do all the disco stuff
Love
back
that
in the
band.
day.
special time. And my parents are musical, but they're not musicians. My father's like an opera fanatic, so I grew up with the stereo at 11, but with opera blaring, which I hated as a child, but somehow now it brings me to a special place when I listen to it and I visit back home. But they were just, they were in the arts world, so if more than anything, they were just super supportive of a creative endeavor, which was a really special thing to not have to be told that I had to go be a lawyer, because I would have sucked at being a lawyer. Actually, I might have been good because I'm a pretty good arguer. But
That's something that I actually wanted to do.
It might come in handy with the band.
Exactly.
Entertainment law. Well, I'm just delighted to speak to you both, and you're two people I always wanted to meet after seeing you at the Garage Shop, because you were just so fantastic on stage, and I knew you would be great in person. And you're going to be doing a kick-ass show tonight on LaureLive stage.
Well, thank you so much.
What do you
Thank you
guys
so
do
much.
to get ready?
Well, I just took a nap.
Oh.
I've gotten into matcha over the last couple days. It's
The
been
tea?
very helpful. Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually
So boring.
a little warm up, a little connection with all of us backstage, you know.
No special mantra.
Not really. Sadly, there's
Well, get out there and
there's
don't
nothing
fail,
cinematic
people.
to what we
Yeah.
do.
Well, you've been doing it so long together and so well. I think you got it down.
Thank you.
Fitz and The Tantrums. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks.